and it's I'm getting people to already ask me where I am.
John, can you give me permission to record, please?
Okay, wait just a moment.
Sure.
And get in.
Allow to record. Joy, did you want to record?
Yes.
Thank you.
Allow to record. I'll give that to okay. So I have a visitor here. My dog just got in here. Okay, so we're going to be doing a live stream this evening with for our prediction night, and we are going to have our psychics, Frances May, who's our astrologer, and then we have Joy Kauf from Miracle of Joy, and we have Mary Beth Wood from Angel Sky Unlimited. So we're going to start off the evening with Frances, but before I do that, I just want to say we're going to be having everyone talk about last year's predictions first, and then we are going to be talking about this year. So I'm going to turn things over to Frances, and I'm going to take care of my little visitor here. Okay. So
Okay,
go ahead, Frances.
Okay. Hi, I'm Frances May. I do astrology and tarot, and I have a very poor memory for last year. A lot of things, as you all know, have happened. Two of the things that I do remember talking about is that women would be coming into their own more than they have been. And especially in this country, it's obvious that now we have the future vice president is a woman. And I think that trend is going to be continuing. I also remember that I saw some issues for Donald Trump in the fall, and that sort of has played out as well. John, do you want the rest to talk about their predictions from last year, or shall I continue with the ones for this year?
Well, it's your 15 minutes. You can do whatever you want. So if you want to talk about the last year and then go ahead with this year, that's fine. Or if you want to go ahead with this year, that's okay as well.
Okay, I just talked about last year. So actually, for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been talking about Pluto in the second house of the United States chart. And it's there, it still is there, it will be there for several more years. The second house has to do with finances, with money, with property, but also its bottom line is our values. And that's what's been coming stronger front and center in the last several years is our values. Our values are being challenged and re-examined as a country. And the Pluto transit will continue. It becomes exact next year. I believe it's in March. I wrote it down and my paperwork is all over the place, so I don't know what it is. Sometime next March is when the actual conjunction takes place. And from that time on, it will move forward and then it goes retrograde and it will go back twice. It will go back over the exact point of conjunction and then a third time moving forward. This last year, one of the big things also, in addition to the Pluto transit through the second house, Saturn has been in that house as well. And Saturn in old astrology had to do with, they called it the greater malefic because it always brought problems to people. My understanding, which doesn't necessarily come from astrology books, is that it breaks the things in our lives that are not working. It sweeps them away so that a new foundation is laid in order to produce something that will last. And that was conjunct in 2020. It was conjunct Pluto. They were running together for a while. And that's one of the big things that was going on. Saturn also has the ability to slow things down or to modulate, modify, and maybe make less explosive other transits and other planets. It's still active. It still is in the second house of the US chart. So it's going to be offering a certain amount of protection and helping things unfold in a much more structured manner. It's about structure. That's continuing. It's going to stay in the second house of the US for another year or so, I think. I'd have to look things up. And like I said, my paperwork is all over the place. So I have it written down, but it'd take me a while to find it. Anyhow, people are probably wondering in light of what has happened in the last week or so, if there's a possibility for more violence. There is a possibility. There are two planets in the fifth house of the country. They are Mars and Uranus. Uranus has to do with revolution. Our country's natal chart has Uranus in a prominent place. And our country was founded during the time of revolutions. French Revolution was taking place then. So there are changes that are possible. The combination of Mars and Uranus kind of throws a lot of reasoning out the window. So there is the possibility of further violence. The thing is, it's in Taurus, which is another thing. Taurus acts fairly slowly. They have a long fuse. So that and the Saturn, I think, is going to keep things from just going completely kaboom. And one of the things that I would like to point out is that we have a lot of power to affect how things come down. And the deepest thing about the Pluto transit is healing. Pluto goes to the base of the problem. I've got those two planets in my second house. They're conjunct and they work together for me. I don't know how they work for other people, but healing. And the best thing that you can do is heal yourselves. You will probably be faced with looking at some of the stuff you don't want to look at about yourself. The shadow. So many people don't want to deal with their own shadows. But the thing is, if you have that festering wound within you, it's going to affect the rest of your life. So look at yourself and how you deal with other people, and look at it yourself and them with compassion. Compassion for yourself is one of the first things, because people are not aware of how deep some of the wounds go. And that's why you see some of the memes out there. Look at the other people and realize that they could be going through a very, very difficult time as well. So to me, that's one of the most important things to carry forward into this new year. It's understand that you're healing yourself, and in so doing, you're healing the rest of the country. And considering that this country has got karmic ties with every other nation on earth, because we've got so many immigrants, what happens here affects the whole world. So anyhow, there's a side comment that I want to make. You know, the media has been reviled, criticized, uplifted, ignored. I just realized that Neptune, the planet that has to do with high spirituality, but also with illusion and glamour and things of that sort, it's been in the third house of this country, which has to do with media and with communication. So there was bound to be a lot of upheaval in the communication and media systems of this country. This year, I believe starting, phooey, wish my paperwork weren't so messed up. Transiting Neptune is going to be opposing the United States Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces right now, which is the sign that it rules. Its opposition is in Virgo, and that's where the US Neptune is located. So looking at Neptune in Virgo, we have a need and a desire, and whoever's got their thing unmuted, please mute it. Down in the bottom left-hand corner. Anyhow, we really like things to be precise, and we really have a high regard for factuality, things that are based in what we can see and hear. Now, as metaphysicians, we're aware that there's much more going on than the things that could be measured and put in a box. Nevertheless, the physical dense is a reflection of what's above. As above, so below. So we respect that. This country as a whole respects it. So this upheaval is natural because there's been a lot of misuse of the media over the last several years. The thing that whenever I start thinking about these things deeply, I learn stuff. Transits of these planets, some of them are far out. Probably none of us will see, well, no, I will see probably the opposition of Pluto to my natal Pluto because they're far out. But whenever there's a contact made by opposition, by conjunction, or whatever to one of your planets, or a planet out there transits and makes a connection with yours, it's like a refresher. When you're born, when the country was born, the placement of the planets gave you a certain way of dealing with that particular energy. The planets, when they contact us, and since y'all are metaphysically inclined and interested, you know the energies have changed incredibly over the last few years. So it's working differently. The purest form of it is the planet within the sign that it rules, and that's Neptune in this particular case. It's going to be shining on our Neptune for the country, and it's going to update it. So these transits, whether by conjunction, opposition, trine, whatever, they're updating our birth charts. So that's what's going to be happening. The pureness of the Neptune, the good that it can do, is going to start shining in and working more strongly with us. So we have the opportunity this year to begin rewriting the future history of the country. Okay, so those are the two major points that I wanted to make. But always remember that you have the power to make changes for everybody by making changes for yourself. And if you focus on positive outcomes, that is what you will create. Power follows the focus of attention. So if you want to help the country get through this mess, focus on something positive and take action. And thank you very much for listening to me, and have a wonderful year. And I'm going to go ahead and mute myself.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Frances. I appreciate that. By the way, if you have questions that you'd like to ask Frances, you can go to the chat feature on Zoom. And hopefully we're getting more and more people on the Facebook Live broadcast. It's broadcasting on my personal page, and we are recording this, so this will be made available to other people. This is the first time we've done this for them, so we're still learning a little bit, and so we're doing the best we can. But we'll get this out to you if you come back and find out you missed something. So thanks for working with us. Our next speaker this evening is going to be Joy Kauf. She's from Miracles of Joy, She has a great store in Louisville, Texas. And if you've ever been there, you know that she's got a wide variety of products and lots of good readers. And she has her own psychic fairs and everything. So I'll let Joy speak for herself. But I'm going to turn it over to her and let her have the forum. So go ahead, Joy.
So I'll touch base on some of the items that I mentioned last year. One of the big items that I mentioned last year, I remember talking about something viral that was going to hit in 2020. I said it was going to be like the outbreak of the measles, but on steroids. So along comes COVID, and it was like, well, that was one of them. That was probably what I was predicting about. The other one was a civil unrest. And what I said by civil unrest, I said there will be millions of people in the street because it's time for everyone in humanity to be treated equal. And I said that they're going to actually take to the street, and it's time to bring everyone where we are all equal. There is not someone that's better than the next person. And the other one was looking at our Congress, Senate, presidential candidates. I said, you're going to start seeing more diversity in it, where you will have transgender, where you will have gay, where you will have Black, Hispanic. It's going to be more of a mix of who we are as a country. So I'm going to go in and talk a little bit. I do want to touch base on COVID and what it is that I picked up for 2020. I feel it's going to be a little bit of the same. I think that, you know, our traveling and moving to other countries or being able to travel is really going to be restricted in 2020, in 2021, like it has been in 2020. I also see a couple of mutations of COVID that's going to come out. And it's going to mutate, I believe, 2 more times, but I don't feel it's going to be as serious as where it was in March when we didn't understand what was hitting and how to treat COVID. I think our medical community has kind of gotten their arms around how to treat COVID. And I also feel what we're going to learn from this disease is that it is going to be a specific gene that humanity has, that those are the ones that can overcome it and those are the ones that cannot. It's going to be done at a gene level that they're going to determine. That was why some people got sick and other people didn't. I want to talk a little bit about the economy and business and what I see for the future. I feel that corporate America has just woken up and said, wow, we can get a lot of work done with people working from home. Maybe we don't need to pay all that money for those big office buildings that we currently have. Maybe it's a way for them. I feel this is what's going to help our whole economy in 2021. If you don't have to wear business suits, if you don't have to put on your makeup an hour before you go to work, at least I used to have to do that. If you don't have to spend that hour to drive to and from work, as well as gas money and expenses, parking, things of that nature, what it's going to do is it actually flushes a whole bunch of money into our economy on 2 different levels. Number one, our corporations, who I'm going to call more progressive, cutting edge corporations, will decide how to do a standard of work, okay? And with that standard of work, allow people to work from home. The other thing with that is it takes all the subjectivity out of corporate America. What does that mean? What do I mean by subjectivity? People will be graded more equally, because what you're only looking at, if you're looking at it from a manager perspective, you're only looking at what's being accomplished, not someone that knows how to talk a big game, not someone who knows how to do this. It brings more equality where people will be graded more equal. So you're going to have more money from a business perspective. The corporations will have more money, and then the employees will have more money because all of the expenses that they're going to be able to cut out. And I have actually seen that more so in my particular business. I mean, my business has really skyrocketed. I did better in 2020 than I did in 2019. And I feel like the reason why it's so much better is I really feel that all of a sudden people have thousands of dollars left in their pocket and in their paycheck than they previously had from working in corporate America. I want to also talk a little bit about medical breakthroughs that I see. I see that there's going to be more medical breakthroughs, and I think I mentioned this last year with stem cells. I think it's becoming more and more prevalent, which is really interesting. I have been actually doing stem cells for the past 4 years, and it's more about allowing the stem cells to repair what is not working within your body. And what I have seen with stem cells in my own personal health has been incredible. It's like I actually had a whole disc that regenerated itself in my neck, where that was just not something that was capable before. And I think they're going to do more and more research with stem cells, what is going to actually help humanity. I see more robotics in surgeries to just make them more foolproof in the future. I also see some advancement with hormone therapy. I'm seeing where it's going to be something that's going to actually help us heal our bodies and help us heal ourselves in a more natural way. I want to talk about intuitive healing and energy healing. I think people are becoming more and more sensitive to energy, and that's why I've seen such an uptick in my particular business. I think for the first time, people who are at home, they're asking themselves, why am I here? And what's this about Reiki energy? And what's this about these other energy modalities and herbal supplements and things of that nature? And I feel that what's happening is people are waking up to a whole new level on this planet. And because they're waking up to a whole new level, they're starting to understand energy. They're also, I feel, I don't know about some of the experiences of you guys who are going to be speaking, but from my own personal experience, this year has been when I asked for something, it was like, I got it in a matter of seconds of asking for it. So I believe when you really connect to, your intuition, your guides, whoever that is, God, whatever label you want to put in that, when you really connect and start focusing on what you want to manifest, it seems to be appearing a lot faster than it ever has before. I also want to talk about the civil unrest. I want to touch a little bit on this. We always seem to be looking at us, the United States. There have been people in the streets across the world. If you follow any kind of global news, it talks about the civil unrest in every country. So what is that a reflection of for us? And what I got is, until humanity realizes there are two sides of the same coin, that we are going to constantly be pinned against each other. At some point, we have to come together, and what do we want for humanity? We want it to be more fair. We want it to be more balanced. And that's what is really happening. It's like we are two sides of the same coin. And it's time for us to come together and do something that is more productive and set up the standards that are more productive in our society. I wanted to touch base a little bit on earth changes that I see. I feel like 2021 is going to be this is a year, this is a year of the storms. We are going to continue to see storms like we haven't seen before. I see hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons. I see more category 4 and 5 storms. I see us saying, hey, this is the worst that we've ever had. And we've been saying that every single year. So I feel that global warming is a real thing. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because what ends up happening is someone talks about climate change, or they talk about global warming, or they talk about saving the earth. I don't know how to break it to you. The earth does not need humans to save them. COVID can show us that. If we don't take care of our planet, we don't have another planet to go to. At least not yet that I know of. I know we're trying to go to Mars, but I don't know how far away we are from that. So part of this is I see new technology, and in that new technology, you're not only going to have wind, you're not only going to have all this new technology that we're trying to implement, but I'm also seeing hydrogen cars, and I'm seeing other types of technology that's going to be developed within, I'm going to say that's going to be over the next 3 or 4 years. And I see more forest fires and things of that nature. And I feel that once we start to, it's not even we have to do anything, but we have to recognize it. Does that make sense when I use that terminology? What I mean is when we look at our planet, okay, and we say, yeah, we have to make some of these small changes in our everyday life. As soon as we start to make that changes, we start manifesting a better planet for ourselves. And what I feel is really happening is I feel like the poles are starting to shift. And I feel like they have been shifting for the last 10 years. I know that there's some psychics who have predicted that that shift is going to happen in a matter of like overnight, boom, North Pole is going to be South Pole and South Pole is going to be North Pole. I think it's a very, very slow process that happens. And I feel that's why we're having different weather patterns in different areas. And last but not least, I want to go over, I feel that more and more people are asking those questions about their connection to the Almighty and whoever that is for them. They're going within to get some of these answers. They're becoming more and more sensitive to energy. They're understanding that, you know, I feel like when everyone kind of went inside, they were at work and they could blame that negativity on those people at work. And now they're at their house and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this negativity is here. So I find that a lot, what I have noticed that a lot more people are asking those questions. What can I do to change my home? How can I change the energy in my home? And I see a lot of people that are buying sage and things of that nature. And they're starting to focus on, okay, how do I not feel so negative? How do I not let this stuff make me so angry? And they're really starting to go within as a group. When I'm saying as a group, I'm saying all of humanity is doing this right now. We've had like 4 times more people walk into my store this year, and I've been open for 15 years. So that's telling me there is a major shift that is happening with people today. They are actually waking up. They're asking these questions for themselves and they're moving forward and what they can do to change their lives. Everyone now wants to take more responsibility in changing their lives. I have had more nurses come in to take Reiki, more doctors ask about Reiki. I have had more people ask about Reiki energy healing this year than I have had them ask ever since I've been open. So it feels like that they want to say, what can I do? What is it that I can do in order to contribute? And I feel that that's what's happening at this particular time. And I think this is going to even get bigger and bigger in 2022. So that's it. That's all I have.
Okay, Joy. Well, thank you. That's great. So lots of detail there, and so lots to think about. And we hope that you'll take this video and put it on your site as well, because we know we'll get a lot more views. And so now we're going to go ahead and go to Mary Beth Wood from Angel Sky Unlimited, and she's been with us for many years doing prediction night. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Mary Beth. So there you go.
Hi there. My name is Mary Beth Wood. I'm with Angel Sky Unlimited. For those who don't know, I'm a psychic. I'm a medium, medical intuitive, spiritual mentor, healer. I do Reiki and all that fun stuff too. I love it when we heal somebody. It's amazing. Last year, some of my biggest predictions were, I said 2020 was going to be the biggest eye exam you ever got. And boy, was it. A lot of things, we made history. And that was one of the things I predicted. I did see the chaos, COVID in March, February and March. Floods in Missouri and Mississippi and Kansas, all was confirmed February and May of 2020. One of the big ones last year I saw was Elon Musk would create like a medical brain implant, and it was confirmed September 2020. I saw a lot of the civil unrest and the revolution and all of the fighting in the streets and the power outages, lots of store closings and all that good stuff. The only thing I didn't see, I saw the food shortages, but I didn't see the TP shortages. So for 2021, this is what I'm going to call 2021, expect the unexpected. And what I mean by that, everything you think you know about is not what you see. In other words, there's going to be even more corruption, as if we don't have enough, right? But everything you think you know about elections, politics, movie stars, freedom, birth certificates, the US dollar, banks, the Federal Reserve, the weather, everything you think you know about, expect the unexpected, because everything is going to change. The whole financial system is going through a reset. I'm not just talking about in the United States, I'm talking about the whole wide world. I believe we will have a total reset. And so, like, if you remember last year, I told everyone to, buy silver, buy gold, try to get the other currencies. And a lot of people don't realize that you can actually get like a gold, silver IRA. You can convert some of your regular 401 into a gold or silver IRA and just do parts of it if you don't want to do the whole thing, because I do feel like we're going to have a major stock crash later on. But we will be using a lot of like cryptocurrency. I keep seeing like the chain link, digital currencies, other types of digital currencies. So you can never go wrong if you have silver and gold. Ever. So that, and I just see, things changing. I'm seeing like blackouts still this year, and like doing rolling, blackouts, like it may be in, California, maybe in New York. But I see it rolling, but also I almost still feel like we may see like our internet going down. So it may not be like the whole blackout, like the whole, street is, everybody's gone, the whole city or the whole town. But it may be also just the internet may just go down and different things like that. So it will interrupt our work and other things. Also, just please have extra food, extra water at hand. I'm not trying to be a fear monger, but I'd rather you be prepared than not have it. So extra food, extra water, keep your car filled up with gas. Also, it's good to have cash, what you can have a little cash, because what if you go to the store and their credit card terminals aren't working because the internet's not working? So if you have cash, you might be able to buy your food or whatever you need. I'm seeing lots and lots of inflation coming, like with your food, with the gas, you're going to start seeing more. And also, oh, okay, this is a weird thing. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, please don't shoot the messenger. This is what one of my visions was that I had. Okay, so please don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so in light of everything that's going on, I saw two people in power for the presidency. I saw Biden and I saw Trump. And I saw they were there. There were two presidents at the same time. And then in the vision, this is weird because like both of them were standing outside of the White House. And so it was dark, and it was, both of them were standing out there like with the microphone. And you could see the White House all lit up behind them. And then it was like a picture just like just ripped right down in two. And when it did, it's like, people went with their president, people went with their president. But the weird thing is the crowds that were out there, they were nice. They were civil. They were being good to everybody. But what was weird is like everything was going well. Everything was nice. And everybody was just, they weren't fighting or divided. But the strange thing is all of a sudden, poof, the White House in the back, just like it went all the way down to the ground. It just crumbled to the ground. It like imploded inside and crumbled to the ground. And when it did, it just dissolved. And so it's kind of like, I feel like we're going to have a fresh new country, a whole new start. And we're no longer a corporation. And so United States of America is no longer a corporation. And if you're not familiar with that, you might want to go check out the Act of 1871. Look it up. It explains everything in detail. But it was just kind of odd the way I saw that it just imploded on itself. It was just very strange, but poof, everything just went away. But everybody got along. That was a good part. But also, I'm seeing Silicon Valley, you know, the big tech and everything. I feel like they're moving to a lot of different places. They're getting out of California. I think we're going to get a lot here in Texas, and I wouldn't be surprised if Florida doesn't get a lot. But I do feel like they're going to be moving away, you know, because the taxes are so high, and I think we'll see a lot of companies moving out. Also, big media. There's going to be a lot of media change with different ownerships. I believe some of the media will dissolve. I believe there's going to be new companies that are going to come in, and they're going to arise out of all this to promote, you know, the freedom of speech. Oh, and this is weird. I saw sports, and I'm not a sports person, okay? I saw like sports was like a huge shakeup. And what it meant by that is it was like, you know how all the sports figures make all this big money and everything? Well, it's like they weren't going to make all the money because there's not that many people going out to the games and everything. And it's like they're not going to be making as much money as they could. And it's just not going to be the same salaries. It's not going to be the same. Oh, and I keep seeing this explosion. I don't know where it is. What I see is it's like late, it's at dusk, and it's like this big, huge explosion. It doesn't feel like it's in the United States, but it feels like it's nuclear, or it could even be like a meteor or something. But it doesn't feel like it's in the United States, but it's huge. It's like very devastating. But it does feel nuclear, natural, a meteor. I'm not sure what. For 2021, I am seeing it being worse than 2020 as far as the civil unrest. But again, it's like what Joy said, it's not just here, it's in all the countries. It's got to get worse before it gets better. But I do feel like it will get better toward the end of the year. Like I'm feeling more like September, October, I feel like it'll start getting better. I know it's, you know, I always like to try to give good stuff out there. And unfortunately, it's kind of crazy right now. And I'm so sorry that, you know, but I'd rather you guys be more informed than thinking, oh, everything's just hunky dory, right? So I know it looks crazy, but remember, it's all about our perception. And if we try to keep our minds in a better place and be positive, I believe we can all get through this. So some of the good things to do to keep your spirits up is don't watch the news, but try to meditate, try to get some exercise, sing, dance, walk in the nature, go hug a tree. Try not to live in fear. It's not worth it. Remember, what you think about, you bring about. So don't think about the bad stuff. It's not worth it. Think about happy thoughts. Think about how good it is to be able to spend more time with your family, because everybody's, you know, stuck together. So enjoy more time with your family. Work on spiritual growth. It's very important because more and more people are waking up, and more people are needing our help, you know, as we can help those that are trying to learn their spiritual gifts, or trying to learn, you know, hey, how can I, you know, get this weird energy out of my house? Let me do a blessing for it, you know, that kind of thing. People are learning more and they want to know more. And that's what we are all here to help, all of us. And so we need to just be thinking more from gratitude and appreciation. That way things won't look so bad. So it's kind of like, if all of us in the whole wide world, think of how this would change the whole world. If all of us could like pray at the same time and give words of encouragement for everybody. Pray for love, pray for peace. You know, pray that everybody's not divided, but they're united. You know, why can't we all pray for that? Because if we do, and we're all united in the prayers, we can send more love and light out to the whole world. And can you imagine how that is as a conscious? If we're sending love and light to everybody, then think of how much empowerment and good vibrations, just raising the consciousness of the world. That would be amazing. So that's what I have for you guys. I wish you a happy, soulful, good new year. Bye.
Okay, well, thank you, Mary Beth. I appreciate that. I guess it's my turn. So I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna share my screen with you, and I'm gonna go to make this a. I'm gonna make it a. Try to make it if I can. A little PowerPoint, and what I'm calling this year is a year of adjustment. Because I think we're all adjusting to our new world of Cobid and working from home and everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up, my predictions based on numerology, a little bit of astrology, and then my own psychic predictions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you that last year, you know, we talked a little bit about the number 4. And that's a year of foundations. It's supposed to be a year of nurturing. I mean, on the positives, it's a year of growth. It's a year of like I say, nurturing. But it's really a year where if you had a good foundation in your life, or you had good roots, you were going to do fine. You were going to do okay. You could weather any storm. But if your foundations were not strong, then you're going to have to make some major adjustments to your life or create a new foundation. So it might be a situation where you're going to have to change careers or something like that. And in Chinese numerology, the number 4 is about death and destruction. And I remember I said last year that a lot of people were going to leave the planet in 2020. And I from natural causes. It wasn't going to be necessarily from a war, but it's just as if the souls of these folks that left the planet, they were ready, whether or not they were young or old or whatever. It was time for them to leave. So that's kind of a metaphysical perspective from my perspective. But also those that were stubborn in 2020. They're going to have the hardest lessons to learn because they weren't willing to change. Because in 2021, this year is a year of change. It's a year of having to be adaptable and also creativity, transition. Now those are the positives of the number 5, because 2020 resonates a 5. But negatively, the number 5 can bring chaos. So if you aren't willing to be flexible to whatever's going on politically or in your own life or in your relationships, there's going to be problems. And so I'm concerned about it because, you know, we've had so much negativity that we want to change that energy and make it a positive and make the chaos something that's more about adaptability or transition, because 2021 is a big transition year. And so now I wanted to go to a little bit on astrology, and I want to do this kind of fast, but in the United States, in July 4th, 1776, I really like the things that Frances said about the U.S. chart, because she was talking about Pluto being in the second house. Well, it was in the second house in 1776, and so that's when there was a value change. But also, I want you to look at this. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but if you can see my pointer where you see this little symbol, this is Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of revolution. And like I say, I want to be careful with what I say, but Uranus in the 7th house is about partnership, or it's about open enemies. And when Uranus switched over into the 7th house of the United States, that's when the revolution really got started. And so there was that real big change, fighting with the Mars, and trying to get things worked out. So also during the Revolutionary War, you had the royalists, and you had the loyalists, and then you had the rebels. And unfortunately, right now we're seeing the nation divided, kind of along similar lines between the establishment versus the outsiders. And so right now, here is what today's transits are as we speak. I just went ahead and put it at 7 p.m. on January 13th. So you see where the transits are and on today. And then if you look at where they are in relation to the United States chart, you'll see that Pluto is coming up on where it was in 1776. So we're not quite there yet. We're not at the real inflection points. But if you look at events of 1773 and 1774, you might see some similar events happening. And so there is major change. So I have to go with what everybody has said tonight about this major change. And then you want to look over here at what happened on January 6th. You see Mars and Uranus in the house of politics, and you see a clash. And so these two are relatively conjunct. And when Uranus goes up into the 7th house again, you may see some more problems. That's not going to be for about 7 years, but we've got a long time before a lot of this political unrest is going to be solved. Pluto is going to be in the 2nd house of the United States until 2037. And so it's going to be there a long time. And so we need to keep our tempers down. We need to stay cool. And so I hope that everyone will take that into heart. Francis was always talking about the media. The media to me is Neptune. It's in the 3rd house of communication. Neptune's a stinker from my perspective. It kind of disguises things. So you really can't believe the media, and that's right and left. So you're going to have to make your own decisions and sort through everything that the media is saying, because this is not good here. This is deception. Wherever I see Neptune, there's some deception there, and that's why it rules the film industry. That's why it rules so many different things that are disguised. And some people call Neptune the great dissolver. So the media and the way they communicate, it has really dissolved and become a mess. So that's going to continue. But what's interesting is you're going to start to see movement on these 2 planets. You're going to see, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is going to allow the first half of the year, I think, to make the economy good. And then I'm going to have to agree with Mary Beth. I think that there's going to be some looming things on the horizon showing the economy starting to show signs of weakness or even recession, because Saturn cleans things up. And if there's problems, Saturn is going to clean up our economy, because that's what the 2nd house is. It's our money, our land. And then Pluto is that regeneration planet, transformation. And it's also about plutonium. You talk about metals and other things like that. So lots of corruption, because Pluto's in Capricorn. Capricorn represents government. There's been a lot of corruption in government that has been hidden, and it's going to continue for at least 4 to 5 more years there. But then it's going to move against big tech, and because it's going to move into Aquarius. Aquarius is about big tech, the technology. Our new leaders are going to be technocrats in the next 5 to 10 years. They're going to be people that are really accustomed to technology. So I'm going to move from that, and if you want to take a picture of that, a screenshot of it, then look up these planets if you know those symbols, or if you know those glyphs, and you can verify what I'm saying to you. And so now I've got my crystal ball out, and so my psychic predictions is that this is going to be a year of some turmoil, virus, political tensions, and the changing economy. There will be bright spots, as there are in every year. There will see gains in space and technology. That could be overshadowed with preoccupation to so much politics, the riots, the violence, and you're going to see some riots on the left and some riots on the right, and so it's a little bit of a scary time. But you're going to start to see groups form, and we'll talk about next year. But I'm a little concerned. And like I say, I think the economy will do well in the first half of the year, but signs of difficulty on the horizon will cause major concerns by the end of the year. We've got a lot of money in the economy, and a lot more coming. So it's a good thing to do, is to diversify your assets and do not let fear and uncertainty overcome you. But it will mark this year as factions begin to group together. And somebody's got to rise to the occasion and bring this country together. We've got to find that common ground. So that's a little bit of what I'm seeing right now. And if you want to go to my website or contact me, you can do so at johncappello.com. So that's just it for me. I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'd like to open it up for some discussion if anybody wants to discuss a few things, or if there's anyone that wants to ask some questions in the chat, please do so. So anybody have anything they'd like to say? Joy, you're gonna have to unmute, and Mary Beth, you're gonna have to unmute too if you want. Or I can unmute. Does anyone have anything to say in the chat? I think it's going to be an interesting year, and it just looks fascinating. I mean, it's already been rock'em sock'em. I also agree with Mary Beth about the cryptocurrencies and gold and silver. So diversify your assets. The dollar is getting a little bit weaker. We have one question from Julie. Are career changes a good? Let me see what happened there. Let me go to the chat. Are career changes a good or bad idea in lieu of the economic changes you're seeing? Well, I would look at your individual chart to help you decide if you want to make a career change. Would you say the same, Francis?
Definitely.
Okay.
That's where, for you, it's geared to you. I would look for aspects to the 6th and 10th houses, and to your Saturn, things of that sort. And don't be afraid. If you're 59 years old and you're having your 2nd Saturn return, don't be afraid to start doing something different. That's a good time to make changes, is that 2nd Saturn return. And also to start making plans for what you want to do when you retire. So.
Yeah, so we got another question. What will happen if Texas and other possible states secede? Anyone want to deal with that?
I think that the United States is too connected. If you have a military base in your particular state, if you succeed, then they kind of disappear. And I also feel the same way with, corporations that are more global. I think a lot of corporations are more global today than they've ever been across the world. And I feel like, it could force some big corporations that are in your area all of a sudden move out, and it could cost like 20-30,000 jobs, things of that nature. I think we're just way too connected at this point to even visualize states breaking off and doing anything.
Well, I'm going to say not this year. I mean, I want to be an optimist and say we're going to get through this, but unless some people step up and really try to bring us together, this is going to be a mess. There's a mess is coming, I think, and I hate to say that, but and I really hope I'm wrong. So Mary Beth, you have any comment about that before we go to the next question?
I'm with you guys. I don't feel like it's going to be this year if any of them do succeed, but I can see it possibly next year. If things don't get resolved the way they're supposed to, yes, I could see it possibly next year.
Okay. And the next question here is, how do you feel about getting the COVID shot? Anyone want to make a comment on it?
I'll answer that. I feel fine. I'm going to actually get it. And part of it is I have friends who work with the pharmaceutical companies. And one of the things that they've come up with is they've been working with other countries. And working with those other countries, they feel that's how they got their arms around COVID. That's how they got this pulled together. When I asked them back in August, would they consider getting the vaccination that was coming out in August? They said no. When I called them about a month ago and I said, hey, are you getting the vaccination? And they said, yeah. So I'll say I have a little bit of an inside scoop on that. So I feel perfectly comfortable with doing that.
Okay. Did you want to say anything, Mary Beth?
As far as I'm concerned, I don't feel that it's ready yet. A normal shot takes at least 5 years to get through the system. So no, I would not, me personally, I would not do it. If it makes you feel comfortable and that's how, if it makes you sleep better at night, go ahead. But it usually takes 5 years to get it through the system. I think if we take plenty of vitamin C, and we do zinc, and we just protect ourselves. And, it's kind of like the flu. It's funny how you haven't heard of anybody dying from the flu this year. No one, absolutely no one. So I'm just saying, I don't think a flu shot would be necessarily the answer, or the COVID shot. I think, just try to protect ourselves, be smart when you go outside, have plenty of vitamin C, drink, have lots of, fluids and everything. But that's just my personal opinion. You guys are more than welcome to do whatever makes you sleep at night and makes you feel comfortable.
Okay. Francis, do you have anything you want to say?
I'm going to wait and see how it affects other people.
Yeah.
Over a year ago, in the fall of 2019, I noticed I kept getting sick, and I thought, oh, maybe I should do something to boost my immune system. So I started taking something to boost my immune system, and I haven't had a cold since then. And I'm thinking, I think somehow I had advance warning for this. So I plan to wait. I'm not going to be one of the first ones to take it.
Well, for me, I'm going to take it, but the thing I'm waiting to see is the other vaccines that are coming, and I feel like they're going to start making vaccines available. They're going to say if you're over 70, this particular vaccine is better. If you're in another age group, or you're if you have certain conditions, this vaccine is better. But I'm going to be 64 on January 20th. So 65 is when everybody gets them. So I'm still going to be last. So, but I do plan to get it, and I'm just going to see which one's available for me when I get in that group, because I feel like there has been a lot of testing, and a lot of other countries are going for it. I don't think I would take the Russian one, the Sputnik 5, But I think I would take
No.
one that had gone through the American process, but I wouldn't go through the Russian one. But now we got another question. Do you think we are moving toward a more Hitler-like regime with several businesses banning Trump supporters or wanting to cleanse those supporters? Who wants to take that? Nobody.
I'm sorry, I don't have a 10-foot pole.
You don't have a what?
A 10-foot pole.
You don't have a 10-foot
I wouldn't touch
pole.
that with a 10-foot pole.
All I can say is look at the astrology, because if the government does try to become oppressive, there's going to be a rebellion. I mean, that's not opinion. That's what's going to happen. I just don't think you're going to keep the population down. Not this country, but I mean, that's just my opinion. And but that's why I think cooler heads have got to prevail, and we've got to let our elected leaders know that they need to get along. Everybody's got to lose a little bit in order to come to consensus. And you know, and the problem is people in the middle are the ones that get beat up on by both sides. And so I just hope and pray that we don't have in some type of major problem. But looking at the astrology, it's a complicated situation. And astrology only talks about tendencies. It's not going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's all about tendencies, and it's up to us to use the positive tendencies that are there in order to make things work for everyone. So that's my answer. If anyone else has anything else to say, they can.
In that respect, I looked at the effects of Biden and Harris on the US chart, and there's Biden's a Scorpio. His Pluto is on the north node of this country. Pluto being transformation. And that's what we're dealing with right now with the Pluto transit through the second house. He has the ability to bring forward the underdog and to put things together. And Harris's chart, there's something in her chart that also points towards stabilization. And that's not stabilization of change. Between the two of them there, I think there's going to be the kind of change that we need, but it's not going to be punitive. It's going to recognize everybody. And that's what, I don't know about you guys, but people come to me, I look at them as a human being. And if we're all created by the same creator, we're brothers and sisters. So what the heck? And I think that is what needs to come into play, the recognition of our equality.
I think,
And
I wanted to add, I also feel, you know, we need to get to the point where we learn how to compromise. You know, each side has their positives and always have. One positive for, I'm going to say the Democrats, has always been, you know, wanting to help the underdog, wanting to help people. And on the conservative side, the Republican side has always been how we're going to pay for it. And it feels like if they would learn how to bring those two sides together instead of fighting each other and finding some compromise in between, it would raise all of us up.
it isn't either or, it's both and that's
They've got to find some kind of common ground. So
exactly.
So we have another question here, and that is, would any of you do global travel in 2021? If so, what time frame?
So I am. I actually have I have a Teotihuacan trip planned in September of 2021. So when we were looking at it's something that I do every year, and I was looking at my sacred journeys and things that I wanted to do, that's the time, that's what I got. So we actually put a trip together for September of 2021. So I'm hoping that things stabilize at that particular time so we can travel.
Okay,
And
very good. Go ahead, Mary Beth.
I'm seeing that, yes, we could, it seems to me like I kept getting like June or July will lighten up a little bit. I don't know if that means hopefully no more masks, but definitely it feels something's lighter and it feels more like after June or July. It feels more like July, and that things will lighten up and everything won't be so restricted. So yes, I would take a trip.
Okay, I would probably agree with Joy about the latter half, the latter half of the year, but you're also going to have to worry a little bit about the economy. So if you've
Yeah.
saved some money and you have some money stashed, that's a good thing. I just hate. I think a little stashing of money is probably wise right now. So and energy can change, and if I really hope, like I say, Francis is right about Biden and Harris. It's a challenge, but hopefully we're going to see some better things happen. So we'll see. We certainly don't want to inflame anything, that's for sure. So. Okay, anybody else have anything? We have several people on our Zoom call, but if not, we're going to start to close things down. And I want to thank everyone for participating this evening. I am recording this meeting, and then I'll make it available, to anyone who likes to see it. So thanks once again, and Happy New Year. So
Happy New
everybody,
Year.
take care. Okay.
Thank you, and
Bye-bye,
Happy New
everyone.
Year.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Take care. Have a blessed one.
Thanks.